Hey guys, welcome back to Indirect Knowledge. So this morning I'm doing a tarot reading for Amy, and this reading is a little bit it's a little bit less specific, but basically to give you kind of an overall purview of everything, Amy, she wants to get some general guidance. Right now she's feeling a bit depressed. There's a person in this, Charles, actually, that's involved in this reading, and don't really get a whole lot of information, but just wanted to do a general tarot reading for her to give her some advice, to kind of put things into perspective, maybe help her the best way that we can, and to just generally let some intuition come about and hopefully just get her some resolve. And that's basically it. So for this type of reading, I like to look at what's really going on in the past to kind of get an idea of things that have led up to the current state, which is the future. We'll look at the future also. And then we'll look a little bit, out on the periphery, out into the future, maybe about 3 months out or so. So as I go through the past, present, and future, I'll start to get things just naturally that will start to come up. This is just, it starts with intuition, but then it just goes into something a little bit deeper than that. And as that story starts to unfold, as it starts to reveal itself, I sort of slip into like a trance almost, and it just kind of happens naturally. It's just something that's just very easy for me, and it's something that's pretty much been there since I was just a really tiny child. And it's just continued to develop over time and over the years. So now I'm just going to try to, once I get into that state, then I can better help and assist and start to get things that will come up just naturally from the surface. And as things reveal themselves, then I can start to give Amy some advice, and I can try to help her in the best way I can. Now, I try to keep this channel really as positive as I can. So sometimes we get questions that people are in an upset state, or we get situations that are problematic for people. And anytime you have something like that, it's about looking at different possibilities. It's about seeing the glass, half full instead of half empty. Ideally, everybody wants the glass completely full, but think about it like this. If the glass is completely full, it means you haven't ever really drank anything, which is not a good thing itself. So now we're in the glass is half empty, but none of us want the glass completely empty. But of course, here we have free refills, so we can always give you more. So, but anyway, a little bit of humor there to try to lighten the mood here. But in all seriousness, though, this is a reading that really does deserve some concentration and some focus. And so if we can just focus and really zero in and just kind of let that tunnel vision happen and just kind of see it for what it is, then we can sort of at some point kind of step outside that. And as we step outside that, I start to really get a big picture perspective of things. And then things just normally naturally come to me. So we're just going to kind of let the cards be the tool for now. And I'm just going to go ahead and shuffle the cards. I've got my tarot cards here. And once we do these 3 cards, past, present, and future, then we'll start to look at really the answer. We'll come back to that a little bit later. We'll look at the energy surrounding the current situation. That's where this depression and that's where the situation with Charles is really coming into play at. And then we'll start to see things in terms of where Amy is, like in terms of her mindset, really where her attitude, her just really her hopes, what her expectations, that kind of thing, really come about. And then finally, we'll draw another card after that, and that card will really be the outcome. That's really where kind of to give some final perspective on things. And we'll look at that in regards to the answer card that we draw. So it'll all make sense here in a little bit more detail for those of you that are just now tuning in, that maybe this is the first time you've ever seen the channel. Here at Indirect Knowledge, we do quite a few tarot readings, and for those of you that don't know my background or anything like that, I'm a monk, and I've been given this gift ever since I was a small child, so I try to use it to help people spiritually, but also to really just, to help people in general and to do some nice service. So anyway, enough about me. This is about Amy and Charles. I'm just letting the cards get nicely shuffled. I hope everyone's having a good morning. All right, and now we'll just cut the cards here. Just focusing on Amy and Charles. Okay, so first card is going to be the future card. Okay, this is the first card, or I'm sorry, I said the future card, but it's actually the past. So this is the past right here. We see the Three of Hearts. Three of Hearts is normally a card about betrayal. It's about painful rejection. Sort of like you've made your decision, now you have to live with the consequences of that decision. We have another card that normally precedes this card in the tarot, and it's the Two of Swords. And the Two of Swords is usually, you'll see a lady and she's got two swords crossed over her, blindfold on. And so it's sort of like in the Two of Swords, it's sort of like this person that's really blinded and having to make a choice. In this card here, the Three of Hearts, it sort of follows that card. So it's futuristic outside of that card. It's about like really bringing to light what you might have been blinded about with that two, if that makes sense. So in the two, when you're making the decision, there's information that's left out. There's things that you're not quite aware of, but we make our decisions anyway. And it's sort of like, as the old saying goes, we have to, basically deal with that decision, or live with that choice that we make. And this is what this card here is really bringing to light. That it's like showing us, hey, wait a minute, we didn't really know going into this, all of this, and now we're finding it out. It's coming to the surface, and now it's like, now I have to pretty much just accept it for what it is, because had I known this beforehand, maybe I would have made a different choice. But as they say, hindsight is 20/20. So let's move on to the next card, which is a present situation. So this is the Seven of Cups. Just let you take that in for just a moment. So the Seven of Cups is about making a decision. It's a wish card. It's sort of like kind of this, I don't want to get too crazy on you or anything, but it's almost like what you think about, you bring about. So it's sort of like whatever is really on your mind or whatever your desire is sort of coming to fruition. Things are coming into your reality. It's really about manifesting things. And this particular card has a lot to do with that. Now, the thing about it is you can bring into your life positive things, but you can also bring into your life negative things. And positive and negative are just tags to describe things that we more prefer versus things that we less prefer. So don't take them to be like it's bad or it's good per se, because really there's many different flavors in between. There's a lot of variations, and so you can ramp up to really being positive, or you can ramp down to really being negative, or the things that are very, very least preferred. In this particular case, it's really about our thinking, so the thoughts and stuff that come into our head. Now, because this is a Cups card, it also has to deal a lot with relationships. Oftentimes, to get what you want, you have to interact with other people. And that's what this relationship card is really all about. In this particular case, it's a 7. 7 is also about spirituality. It's about letting things that are spiritual sort of come to the surface. But when we talk in terms of this sphere of spirituality, it also is this kind of thing of like it's very practical in the sense that, you know, what you think about, you bring about. So if you kind of think of that mantra as, if you're depressed right now, or if things are not going so well for you, or if you're just not settled mentally in a good place, try to watch your thoughts. Like maybe, like I would encourage you to do a little bit of meditation, for example. Like just kind of relax a little bit and let your mind maybe think on something more positive, but something more preferred or more desirable, whatever it is that you're wanting. So whatever you're wanting, really, at this point, it has the potentiality, it's a possibility of becoming what it is that you truly desire. So, but you have to be careful, because if you think about the things that you don't desire, that's ultimately what you're going to bring in with this wish card. So the old adage is, be careful what you wish for. So now I think it's probably going to be safe to say that we could move into the future a little bit to kind of get some more perspective. But I do want you to really think about this card, because it's an important card in the spread here, just because it's sort of where you're at mentally. And this card is giving you this message that says, hey, wait a minute. You really have to be careful of your thoughts, because those thoughts are going to lead to your actions, and those actions are going to eventually get you the results that you get, which is going to bring to fruition whatever it is that you desire or don't desire. So the key is to think about the things that you desire and not the things that you don't desire. So let's just have a case in point here. Let's say, for example, we're looking at the past, and in the past, you know, we see that there's some painful rejection going on. It's a card of betrayal. It's about heartache and pain, and you know, ultimately, you know, that's a very, you know, mental card as well, because it's a sword. So it's a whole lot of things going on. It's emotional, it's painful, and it's very much tied to or connected to something from the past. So if you're thinking about the past and you're thinking about that painful experience now in the future, you're probably going to be disappointed later on in the future, because I mean in the present, but in the future, because that same pattern is going to repeat itself over and over again. And until we learn from that, to learn to change our thoughts and to take control over our own mind, well, those kind of things tend to be it seems to be the pattern of behavior. But the really good news is that I can give you is that at this particular moment, all you really have to do is zero in on what it is you actually want. Like, I know it's hard to let go of painful experiences. I mean, like in neurolinguistic programming, for example, you know, they've done a lot of research and study that says, hey, when when uh, when something comes about, we're anchored to it. In other words, it's sort of like an anchored response. So like if something like associated with Charles is triggering that anchor, triggering that response, it's probably leading your mind to do this loop right back into the past. Don't want that, because that was painful rejection in that, right? That was sort of like painful experiences. Instead of doing that, the key is to create a new anchor, so that it, instead of triggering something from the past, it actually will help you in coming up with a solution for the here and now. You know, so putting your focus on something more positive. And that's going to really help out probably with the depression and kind of where your mindset is and everything as well. So let's look right now at what the future card is. So we have the Nine of Cups. Now, I'm calibrated to about 3 months out. This is how I normally do this. And right now I'm seeing right at the moment about 3 months. If it changes here during the reading, I'll definitely let you know. If it changes even after the reading, and maybe I get some insight later on, I'll definitely clue you in and let you know as well. But for right now, it's safe to assume pretty much about 3 months out, you're basically getting this Nine of Cups. Now, the Nine of Cups basically means contentment. It's about happiness. Material, relational goals are met. You're satisfied. I mean, plain and simple, that's the best way to put it. 9 symbolizes the moon and endings and completions in numerology. Okay, So oftentimes when we see this 9, it's about endings and completion. It's about starting a new chapter, getting ready to start. But this is also known as the wish card in the tarot as well. So the wish card is basically whatever it is that you wanted, it came to fruition and you got it. And you're satisfied. You're happy with the outcome. It's a very, very positive card for you. I'm really glad to see it because I love to give people good news, and I'm really picking up that things are going to get really good for you, really in the near future. This card is also about generosity and having the spirit of generosity to where, because you've received the things in life that you wanted, you feel good about it, you're satisfied. Everything above and beyond that is now about kind of transitioning over to helping other people or giving back in a sense, and that makes you feel even better. It elevates your spirit, elevates your mood even more, and that causes even more goodwill to come about, and the process of happiness just sort of starts to cycle back around, and you start to see yourself in a better mood. You start to see life you're really fulfilled. Things start to really come about in a really positive and nice way for you. Let's look at really the answer card, and we'll talk more about this in a minute, but this is the 9 of Pentacles. Okay. You see on here a woman holding a bird, maybe a parrot or a cockatoo. You see the coin or the pentacle that she's holding there. You see a lot of growth behind her and everything. And this is really about self-reliance. Okay, so the answer to this ultimate outcome that we'll talk about here in a moment is going to be a keyword here is self-reliance. Okay, but we won't go too in depth on this right now because we don't really know what the outcome is yet, but we'll get there. Let's look and see, as far as, like we talked a minute ago about the 7 of Cups. And the 7 of Cups is you're really, it's about bringing about what you think about. Remember that? Now let's look at really where the energy is surrounding that, kind of what we can get from that. So this is the Queen of Cups. Now this is very, it's not surprising to me, but it would be surprising probably to a lot of people that, I do the tarot all the time, but this is the Queen of Cups. Cups, again, about relationships, talking about Charles here. The Queen of Cups, this is you. And really this is about influence, okay? The Queen gets what the Queen wants, okay? That's the plain and simple truth of it. The Queen doesn't have to be the authority figure like a king might be. The Queen can be very subtle. She can just, she knows how to interact with others. She knows how to interact with herself. But because it's a Cups and it's a Queen of Cups, it's really about emotional influence. It's about being able to wield emotional influence over other people. That's something that, Amy, I think you probably excel in, that you're probably pretty good at. You're also very empathic. And empaths, they tend to pick up on other people's energy. And because they pick up on other people's energy, they tend to harbor that energy within them, which can cause them to feel what other people are feeling. So my thinking here maybe with this card is that maybe some of that depression or some of that energy that you're picking up on is maybe not just your energy or your particular situation, but it could be the energy of other people around you. Maybe other people, they're not content, or maybe they need some help or something, and maybe you're picking up on that energy, and that's causing you to feel the way that you feel. Just something that I'm picking up here. Let's really look, though, at really what your hope is for this reading, for the situation with Charles, and kind of get some perspective on that. This is really like the attitude card, or really the hope or the fear card. Sometimes it's about what we're fearing or what we're hoping, but it kind of gives some insight into you personally. Let's look and see. Oh my goodness. So we have the Death card. Now, death can mean literal death, but it can also mean transformation. Most of the time when the Death card comes up, it is about transformation. It's about moving on, letting go of things, basically just getting rid of things that no longer resonate or work for you any longer. Most of it's about outdated ideas. So if you're maybe if you've had some ideas or ideologies or something from the past, maybe you've worked through those things. They could be spiritual, they could be emotional, they could be mental, they could be financial, it could be a range of things. In this particular context, we're talking about relationships. So it's about things in relationships no longer really working for you any longer. And it's about kind of what your hope is, or your desire about this is to get rid of some of these things that just don't really resonate with you anymore, that don't really work for you, and letting those things go. It's just, it's really just to let go of outdated ideas, beliefs, activities, things like that that hold you back. So that's maybe something that you really want to think about a little bit. Now, this death card is the 8 card. It's 8's oftentimes about financial abundance and things like that are coming in as well. Let's look at really the outcome, because that's really the final synopsis here. So, okay, well, we have the 10 of Swords. This is the outcome card. We started with swords, the 3 of Swords, if you remember, with the 3 of those 3 swords that were penetrating the heart. Now we have the 3 swords that are really penetrating the back of someone. So this is a 10 in numerology. In the tarot, the 10 is about endings. At this point, it just means that we're kind of defeated by our own thoughts. This card is really about letting go of one chapter and moving on with something more fulfilling, or moving into a new direction. So it's sort of like, it's really, you've gone through this journey of being with Charles and everything on that end. And now it's sort of about like a new chapter is unfolding. Now, this new chapter doesn't necessarily mean that Charles won't be in your life, but it just means that in the near future here, things are going to shift and things are going to change. Now, based on this reading and all the other cards that I've given you so far and all, you've got the Queen of Cups, which is the place of influence. That's where you're at with it. And that's really being able to influence what it is that you want relationally. From the 7 of Cups, that's this card. And a lot of that is governed by your own thoughts and your own thinking. So really, we see these swords at the beginning and the end. So what this is basically and we have these cups throughout, a few pentacles here and there, but it's mostly just about the cups and the relationships. So death is kind of like you're wanting some things to end, some come to an end, you know what those things are. I mean, I don't have to know, nobody else has to know or anything like that. You already know what that means. And the 10 of Swords is basically saying, as far as the outcome goes, that, yeah, this is, there's going to be a rebirth. There's going to be a renewal of some sorts, and it's going to happen in a different way. It could be with Charles, but it could very likely be with someone else, or it could be in just, that you're moving into a new chapter, something new and positive is coming about, should you want that. And just on the off chance, though, that this is about death and Charles specifically, or the potentiality of that, if that's something that's going on with you with this, there will be some finality. So there will be some closure here soon. But the positive thing about this reading is that you're going to be okay. That you, in the near future, your wishes, everything that you wish for, is going to come true. But in order for you to really, truly capitalize and take full advantage and really leverage this spread to your full advantage, here's what you need to do. This is the advice that I can give you. You need to really concentrate on your thoughts. Look at your thoughts and see what specifically it is that you can do right now to really, what is it that you truly want? What would be the best outcome for you on everything? What's going to really genuinely bring you the most happiness? And if you don't know what that is, that's fine. But here's the caveat. Don't focus on negativity. Don't focus on fear. Don't focus on loss. Don't do any of that. We start with this. We started with loss and betrayal and heartache and pain. And in this card and all, it's sort of like there's an ending to all of this. So it's a really good spread that you have. Like, as far as you're concerned, I don't really worry so much about you as much as I do just Charles in general. For you, though, I mean, things are really, you're positioned for a lot of happiness. A lot of really good things are coming about for you. But you got to keep that mind, you got to keep your mind focused in a real positive direction. So get through the last remaining remnants of whatever's going on. Get through it. You're going to be fine. You're strong. I know you're strong. I know you're strong, and I know you're mentally influential over others, specifically this particular person and Charles in this particular situation. You can be very helpful, and really that's the answer to all of this, is just, you need to be self-reliant right now, independent, free, and that's going to really help you get what you want and help you make this transition that you're going through. And it really is a mental transition. We see these swords, but it's basically has taken you through the path of the swords. You're at the last sword in the Minor Arcana, and now it's about moving in and getting a fresh start, getting something new coming in. Again, I can't tell you 100% right now off the top of my head whether or not that's going to be with Charles per se or not, but it really does look like one thing is ending right now, another thing is coming in, and that thing that's coming in is really positive, and it's really in alignment with what you're desiring and where your thoughts are and where your hope is. So yeah, it's a pretty positive reading for you. So, as far as the depression and things goes, like I said, I think a lot of that is just the empathness coming out. Oftentimes, it's like this, it can feel like bipolar disorder in a lot of ways. Like when you're in this kind of a transitional period, like where you're at, it doesn't mean you have bipolar necessarily. Maybe you do. I don't know 100%. I can't pick that up. But I am picking this up to some degree, that it's sort of like 1 minute you can be like really good. Your energy is like vivacious and maybe even over the top a little bit. And the next minute, right, you can just feel like your lowest low. And that's a really horrible feeling when you feel that. But again, that comes right back around to the next thing of feeling really good again, and, right now, seeing the cards in terms of what we've seen, it's really about just, at this point, just really taking advantage of what you want to have happen, knowing that it's coming about, knowing that you're manifesting that, you're bringing that into fruition and stuff. You're materializing whatever it is that you're truly desiring, your heart's desire will come into fruition. These things here that have been plaguing you, that have been bothering you, those things are going to end, and new things are going to be coming into play for you. So some of this reading is going to make a little bit more sense to you than it does me, because obviously you know more about the situation than I do. Okay, so I put that out there. I want you to use some of this intuition that you have to really be able to kind of regulate your thinking around it and to really make more sense of it. I'm thinking that some of that is already probably the case. You're probably already seeing things. I hope, if nothing else, one thing that you can take away from this reading is that it's a positive reading for you, that, even though like sometimes when things seem like, utter despair and things seem like such a loss, you got to remember, when one door closes, another door is going to open. Only the next door that's opening for you seems like it's going to be a much better door for you. It seems like you're going to be in a much better situation, a much better position, and a much better place, mentally and materially and spiritually and in other ways as well. And I'm really picking that up for you. So I really feel excited for you in one sense, because I know that here in the near term future, probably about 3 months out or so, things are going to really turn around for you, and you're going to really be in a good place mentally and in many other ways. And I'm really, really excited for you for that. Just like with anything in life, we have ups and downs, and that's our psychology. Our personal psychology goes up and down, and that's just the nature of materialism. That's the nature of this material universe. It's like, we want, we get what we want, and then we want something else, right? It's just that never-ending cycle. It's a vicious cycle. It's about moving from one chapter to the next chapter, and every chapter it sort of repeats itself in terms of the theme, the structure of it. And we become more and more, as we live life and we go through life, we become more adapted, I guess, to that structure, that loss, gain, loss, gain, loss, gain. And at some point we just wake up and say, okay, I don't even care anymore. Like, this doesn't even mean anything. This is so boring. This is just like not even that. But I will give you one. It's actually one of my favorite quotes. It comes from the Bhagavad Gita, and it's, for one who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. For one who has failed to do so, the mind will be the greatest enemy. And how true is that in this particular situation? If we can just get our mind focused in the right direction right now, Amy, what you're going to see is a lot of positivity, a lot of really great things start to unfold and come about for you. And you're going to be able to wield influence over all of it. But you got the wish card. So whatever it is that you're wishing or you're desiring, here in the next 3 months and stuff like that, you're going to start to see it come into fruition. So the key is to make sure that what it is that you want is what you're focusing on. So keep that focus in mind, really zero in on it, and you're going to be fine. And everybody else is going to be fine in your situation. Things are going to work out very nicely for you. And yeah, that's pretty much all I can give you as far as the reading goes. So I hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope that you have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, as your tarot coach, I'm always here for you. So please reach out to me. If you have questions, concerns, anything, I'm always here for you. So please reach out to me. And for everyone watching this YouTube channel and stuff, any divination experts out there, anybody that's maybe picking up on something that I haven't picked up on, well, do me a favor. Put your comments in the comment section below this video. Whatever advice or whatever you're picking up, please put it down there and stuff like that. The more the merrier. We try to keep this channel positive, so please, nothing negative. No, we want to keep it truthful, but just don't be like hateful or anything like that. We just want to keep it nice and clean. And yeah, so, and for everyone watching the video, if you like the video, please of course give it a thumbs up. That always helps the ranking of the videos so that other people can see them and find out about the channel and everything and gain the advantages and benefits of that. But then also, if you like the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you want to get notifications whenever we come live and do these live streams, by all means hit that little bell icon below the video, and that will give you notifications. And so if you have a smartphone and it's set up to receive notifications, you'll be able to get those YouTube notifications. And every time that we do a live stream, you'll be able to come in, participate if you want. We have the chats that are enabled so that you can ask questions or give some advice if you're, a divination expert or someone that is psychic or something. You can give some expert advice as well. And it's always great to have some, some additional support or some friends on here. So join the community. But as far as everything else goes, that's really all for this time. And thanks for tuning in. And everybody have a wonderful day. I hope it's a really great Monday for everyone.